Check it out, we have shortened Mambo and we left the space on the back for a flatbed. Let me show you how we got to this point.
Since we saw you last with Loco and I doing that pickup video, here's where we are so far. The seats, as you can see back here, are all out of the bus. I started keeping tally. When I started taking them out, I got through 7 of them. And then Loco came and just tore all the rest of them out, a total of 24. So great job. Here's a little bit about what we learned with taking the seats out. So here's the inside of the bus, what she looks like now. Well, all the seats are out, and more importantly, all the flanges that held the seats in are out. So when I was taking the seats out, I ground the bolt heads off and used my high lift jack over there to kind of pull the seat flange off the head of the bolt, which maybe still had a little bit of the bolt flange on there, and was getting through those pretty good. Then Loco came, and his technique was to cut the flange off by just grinding the tube of the seat, which is great. Got the seats out real quick, but it left the flanges. So yesterday I was out here and I took out, I don't know how many flanges with a different technique. Still had to grind the bolt heads off, but it made it a lot easier to do with the seat no longer there. I also used a punch. I did a quick video about how to do that. So I would grind the bolt head off and then use a punch held by vice grips and hammered the bolt down through the floor. And here's what happens when you bang real hard on the floor of a 19-year-old bus that lived its life in Ohio through the winters. And you can see some of the bolts, like there's one right there. There's a lot more up there. Let me show you what the bolt head, or the other end of the bolt with the nut, looked like from underneath the bus. So this is why we didn't really go underneath to hold the nut and try to unthread those, because as you can see, it's very corroded, very locked on together with the bolt and the nut. And plus we were out here by ourselves, like I did it by myself and Loco did his by himself. So that's what it took to get the seats out. Today, Loco's about to meet me out here and we're gonna start taking this floor out. So why take the floor out? Well, underneath this rubber matting, like this stuff in this walkway, is a plywood subfloor, and under that, as you can see, could be a lot of rust. So we kind of need to get it down to steel and see what we got, scrub it, clean it, degrease it, and maybe paint it with some sort of rust encapsulator like a chassis saver or something like that. But she's coming along. We got some blue tape up there for possible cuts, maybe leaving an overhang, maybe not. And a lot of screws to take out. Instead of doing one big cut, we're probably gonna take her out piece by piece, take the windows out, take the panels out, and make it a little bit more manageable on a one-to-one basis. When I get bored with that, I'm gonna start taking screws out along here. As you can see, the very back of the bus here is rivets, but this bumper rail has screws on it. Dave sent me dimensions he wants. We'd like to have 17 feet from the back of whatever's left once we get the top off, all the way up to wherever that's gonna end up being. So I'm gonna lay that out with some blue painter's tape, see what 17 feet looks like, and then see what we have left of this part of the bus to make it into an RV. What's gonna dictate where we cut is kind of these windows. Like we can cut here, we can cut here, so we got kind of maybe a 2.5, 3 feet chunks or decision points for where to cut the bus and start taking it apart. So stand by, it's getting exciting. Starting to do some real work out here, and stay tuned. Hey Loco, how many windows are out? One, two,
3, 4, 5, 6. 6 bus windows.
out. Another day of work. Loco showed up today, and he's a beast. So give you a quick picture or video of what we've done so far. Today, we just got a first look at the floor, which is a little scary, but here we go. Hey, Loco.
It's a good floor.
Good floor.
Comes with automatic air conditioning.
It's ventilated, as they say. Kind of where the tires, you know, kicked up salt and grime. You can see, oh, we covered it with a broken window, but back here, you know, it's just surface rust, as in there is no surface. And you can see the back of the bus is not connected in any way to the structure. Here's this side. And we got the flooring up, which was a lot of effort, but we ended up cutting it into sections and prying it. And there were quite a few little bolts, you know, kind of like where it's ground off here, that we had to re-grind off once the plywood came up. So tomorrow, so we got it pretty far. Tomorrow we're gonna take that radiator heater. We got to cap off the hoses that are over to the side. Take that off, cap off the hoses or loop it and pull all that stuff up. And then we think, so we got some of the ceiling out, windows on each side. They came out really just with caulking. They were just kind of caulked in with this stuff. And might start taking these panels off, make it look like a skeleton. But made a lot of progress today. And Millie helped, didn't you help? Millie helped. Say NTD Racing. Say Mambo. The bus has made quite some transformations thanks to Loco. He's got the side off of one side, still have the other side to do. And you can see some of the issues. Like there's a nice little gap right here, not supposed to be there. So here next we're gonna take the floor off, which is this part here. The kind of beams that go all the way across. I'll show you how they're fastened underneath and how we're getting them out. Grinder, so you got these beams going all the way across, holding up the floor, but those beams are held in by these little, you know, they're bolted onto the beam, and then they just kind of go under the frame of the bus here and fasten on. So we just cut, you know, grinder that little tongue off, and now this is no longer attached to this. If I push up on it, you can see it actually kind of move a little bit. They have these little rubber spacers in there, probably for vibration dampening, but we're getting rid of all that simply by grinding wherever there's one of these brackets, like right there. Just grind the little tongue off, and we'll see how the floor comes out after that.
All right, here's the guys that are gonna do the lift. We got Denny, we got Bear, we got my buddy Jimbo. And what we did over here is we put some 2x6 square tubes. We bolted all the way through. We had to remove some of the trim to get those bolts in there, so we'll put the trim back on. But that lets us put this board here, so we're gonna lift it, so we'll have one guy on each side. And as this thing lifts and it gets a little teetery, we got a little bit of a lever arm to get those off. So these are now completely cut. We think the bus is completely released. So in theory, we should be able to lift this whole thing up and take it all the way down to the other side. Let's go ahead and see how that goes. There is so much work left to do to get this team ready for the Baja 1000. We got Mambo. One video is going to be the interior, and then tomorrow I'm picking up metal. We're going to flatbed this thing with some diamond plates and really cool stuff. And then we got Honcho, our 1978 Jeep J10 Desert Race Truck. I think the next video, we're re-gearing that one. We got Lefty. I'm working on suspension for our Ford Raptor trophy truck, our Bugs Trophy truck. Lightning, which will be ready for the Mint 400. We got Dung Beetle, which is our new class 11, which we're going to have ready for the Baja 1000 2024. So a lot of great stuff coming up. If you like what you see here, if you want to watch some more, please consider hitting that like and subscribe. Ringing the bell for notification of future episodes. All those things tell the algorithm that you like what you're seeing. It shows it more people. It helps us out. Can't say thank you enough. We'll see you next week. Take care of yourself.